Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Saturday afternoon Saturday Chameleon workshop. If you're watching this on replay, just know that this happens every Saturday at 12 noon Pacific, and you can join us live. It's been quite a morning, and we've got some stuff to do, and I'm going to be calling on your detective skills. We're going to do a real easy one, and then we're going to do some thinking. Today's going to be a thinking episode. So, whew. All right, well, let's check it to see how everybody is. Oh, yes, Joanne, we got Joanne's book on the way. Anything going international has been a real real joy. So yeah, when we say we finally got Joanne's book on the way to her, we piggybacked with Mikey so we could get it into the country one time. And then Mikey sent it to Joanne. Thank you very much, Mikey. Beautiful book. You love it. Thank you very much, Marsha. And yes, you're going to love it, Joanne. All right. Okay, we got a whole lot of people here, and we've even got the book on the way to Greece, which was a feat. And yeah, everybody, you can buy it from the publisher, and that's not a problem. But if you want my signature and Squishy's signature, that became an issue. That became a fun challenge. So, okay, everybody. Do we go over our challenge? Okay, we've got two challenges. We're just going to go over our challenges. And today is a Saturday Chameleon workshop, which means we are going to be doing so. By the way, first of all, everybody, as we have a huge super show going on right now in California, in Los Angeles, California, and I am going to be there tomorrow. So if anybody is going to be at the Reptile Super Show tomorrow, Sunday, June 29th, I may be there. I'll be there sometime in the afternoon. So anyway, whew. Hey, hello, Nick. And so, first, let's go over a little bit of what's going on in the community here, and then in the second half, we're going to be talking about something that we have been wondering about. As in, we're going to be talking about why these panther chameleons that got behind me are growing so slow, and we're going to be using our detective skills, and we're going to figure this out. All right. Oh, I've heard that one before. No, James, I'm serious this time. I'm going to be at the show. Serious. But we need to congratulate Janet Garner, Wild Horses, she is raising a bunch of little baby, which are not baby anymore, veiled chameleons. And so we are wonderful. We are very happy that they are getting to the age where they can find new homes. I hadn't talked to her, so I don't know if she is looking for new homes or if she's found them already. But Janet, we want to say congratulations. And we do need an update from Renee. Renee just got done with ankle surgery. Doing great. I have a wonderful nurse. That would be Marsha Ann. I know the answer to that one. Renee, very good to see you here. I'm very glad that you are recovering. So, all right. All right, everybody, your first challenge of the day. This was sent to me by a member of our community, Teacher Jordan. I don't know Jordan's last name. I just know Teacher Jordan. So, who here knows what the heck this species of chameleon is? Anybody? Oh, there's Wild Horses. Oh, good job. By the way, Janet, do you need any? Are you looking for new homes for these babies? So, anybody got some? Need some guesses out there? What is this species of chameleon? I will take any guesses. You don't have to know you're right. Just make a guess. And I'm gonna go ahead and see. Jason is guessing bifidus. All right. Any other guesses? Anybody want to say when you want to back that up and say bifidus? You can back it up if you think this is bifidus. But give me a couple of. I'll just spend a couple minutes. Not a couple. Marchand says male carpet. All right. All right. And let's see. Wild horses are ready for. Jan is ready for new babies once these leave. So this was. You guys haven't seen me have coffee during this show for a long time, but it's been quite the morning. Oh, yes. And Ray says a micro chameleon. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Looks like a tiny breed. Okay. Amphibious says Cameleo species, I would say. All right. All right. Yellow stripe left. Yes, there's yellow in this chameleon species. All right. Well, of course, if I start giving a little bit more clues, it'll start giving it away. But let's go ahead and I will just say this is an adult female. And so it's an adult female. Cameleo chameleon. I can't tell. Yes. Now, I went ahead and gave you the picture of the female because I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide, which will be the picture of the male. And I suspect now we'll have some other guesses. All right. So I need some guesses on this one. So what is this chameleon? Geraldine sees Jackson's. Huh? Now, we'll say that there are actually 6 species of chameleons that sport the 3-horned pattern. And so... And Flick comes in with a Johnstoni. So, and yes, you are absolutely correct, John Stoney. Yes, everyone, this is Trioceras johnstoni, the Johnston's chameleon. And this is one of 6 species that have the 3-horned configuration. We all know the Jackson's chameleon, and then here's the Johnston's chameleon. We have in Tanzania, we have the Werneri and Fullerborni, and then over in the Cameroon and Congo, we have Oweni. So the question is, everyone, where am I? Where is Teacher Jordan when he was taking this picture? Yeah, that's okay. You know what? James will just cheat and cheat and cheat. That's right. All right. So, question will give a couple minutes for people to get in. We've got Eliza Ann saying Tanzania. So, all right. Well, this species is actually from the border, the mountain range that borders Uganda and Congo and reaches down into Burundi, Rwanda and Burundi. So this is, now we can tell, okay, let's go on. There are actually, we can, so we know that this is coming from Uganda, but there are 2 forms of Johnsoni because we can narrow down where it comes from. On the left, you've got the Rwenzori form. That comes from the Rwenzori Mountains. And then there's the Burundi form, which comes from the area where the impenetrable forest is. You hear about the mountain gorillas, where you go and you see the mountain gorillas in the cloud forest. That's the Burundi impenetrable forest. And you can go and you can stay up there. A lot of people go to look at the gorillas. And on the hotel grounds, the lodge grounds, you can see Johnstonii all over the place there. And it's the Burundi form, the form that has the blue in there. And this gives you a little idea of where it is from. And I've pointed out where the countries are. Kenya has the Jackson's chameleon. Uganda has the Johnston's chameleon. Tanzania has Wernerii and Fullerbornii, as well as the Jacksons, the Mount Meru form. And then Congo, this big thing, has the Johnstonii as well as the Owenii. And then if you go over here to Cameroon, over here, you've got Owenii as well. So this is just a little introduction to these very fun chameleons. Need some of the Burundi. They are incredible. Well, let me tell you. They haven't been imported for a long time. They usually were coming from Uganda, but Uganda now does not send them out anymore. Now, that being said, they're also from Congo, and they can be sent out from Congo. The problem is that there's no real good infrastructure in Congo. And so people have tried. People have really tried, but they've not been able to get things out consistently. There was one shipment that came out, and it came out looking really bad, really bad. So let's see. Do any of these countries import to the U.S.? Okay, I just talked about that, kind of. So the Congo imported a number of Johnstonii a couple of years ago, and they came in looking really, really bad. It was really tough, and so there wasn't a whole lot that survived from that shipment. The thing is, the infrastructure in Congo is not meant for, they don't have a good export structure there, and the mountains where these are from are totally on the other side of the country, as the airport is. And so they've got to drive for 2 days to get to the airport. And so if you don't know how to take care of chameleons, those chameleons are not going to do well. And so unfortunately, that's what happened there. Now, there is some Johnstonii in Europe being bred. So maybe they could come in. So maybe. Can we plan to go to Congo and get some? If Congo was a good place to go, maybe. Congo's a difficult place to go. You read Mike. Yes, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew that you were. We had interaction. We had audience interaction. Oh. So, yeah. So they actually are, they're just two locales. So they're not different species, but there are two locales. And the question is, did it have red in it? And so if we go back, you can tell this Rwenzori form has the red in the head, and the Burundi form had the blue. Now there is, I believe there is another form that comes from Burundi and Rwanda. I've only seen a picture of it once, and it was brown, and it wasn't that nice. But then again, that was only one picture, so you never know. You can't judge an entire locale from one picture. Yes, they are sketchy over there. And yes, Johnstonii was actually, there were a lot of them brought in back in the James time of keeping chameleons, and I'm surprised that I did not have them. That was back in the 90s, where you could, there was a lot of Johnstonii around, and so they were very common. But just like everything else, something is really common, then people don't really value it. And so they don't, if somebody breeds it, they have a real hard time selling. And this is what happened with Johnson and I. There were some breeders of Johnson and I. Johnson and I is easy to breed. And the eggs just come out and they are huge eggs. They're beautiful. This species is so easy to breed. But the problem is, well, you need to be able to find new homes. And if they're cheap and easy to find, then people aren't going to pay what it takes to breed this species. And so people stop breeding them. And then they aren't imported, and then we are left with nothing. So, I mean, this play plays out every single species. Cynogea multituberculata. Most of you have never seen one. Trioceras daramensis. Most of you, you've only seen pictures of these. These used to be common. They used to be cheap. Trioceras montium, Trioceras quadricornis, some of the most incredible chameleons. And they were just so cheap that people didn't invest in them. And Brookesia paramata, you will never see a Brookesia paramata in captivity. I bred them. But the thing is, they were just $90? And so they're now CITES 1, so we'll never see it. So this is what happens with the species. And this is why I've dedicated myself to the shamrock chameleon. And it's been a couple of years, and I am sticking with the shamrock chameleon. I'm going to put in the time, put in the effort, build the community, even if they're difficult to sell. I'm going to stick with it and keep plowing through, because sooner or later they're not going to be imported anymore. And I've seen this happen so many times that I've just decided I'm going to put a stake in the ground. I'm going to draw a line and say, this is what I'm doing. And if they're imported for the next 10 years, okay. I'm not doing this as a monetary investment. I'm doing this as a community investment. It's an investment in my growth as a community chameleon keeper and herpetoculturists. I can never say that. Tanzania has mellors. Yes, Tanzania has melleri. Mozambique, there are a number of other places that have Meller's chameleons. Tanzania is just the one that was exporting before. And actually, I think Malawi, Mozambique, these are probably, we may even be able to get Meller's chameleons from these countries if they had a export structure. See, it takes a lot for someone to export a chameleon and for the government to issue paperwork and all that kind of stuff. And so, you gotta, there's a little bit of effort that goes into it. Hey, Bill, that James time, you aging me. Hey, James, if I age you, I age myself. I probably age myself more. I call it James time as if I wasn't there back in the James time. Oh, boy. So, let's see. Aging is a blessing many don't get. Be grateful you've got the time you have. And in all seriousness, it's amazing getting to this age, because you've seen so much, you've experienced so much, and you have a context that you didn't have before. And so it's very cool it's very cool to be this age. And when I'm talking with James, there are things that we can talk about that it's hard to find people that remember those times, that grew through those times. We got to see this community forming from this amorphous mass into what it is today. And all of it's, there's good points and bad points, but it's grown, and there's been so much that has happened. It's very cool. Our OAs, I hate calling them O's. That seems so disrespectful, but the O'Shaughnessy eye eggs are cooking. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I hope I hope for the best. I would love to see captive bred shamrocks around here. Let's see. Oh, James says he's got a picture. Oh, I don't know how can I put this? All right, so let me see if I could pull that up, but I'm going to show you. I have another. All right. So I made a little bit of went to Google Maps, and so you can see where these locales. The one, what you see is Uganda in this map, and down at the southwest border, that area you have the Burundi impenetrable forest, and that's where you get this bluish Johnsonite locale. And then up a bit north across the lake into the Ruwenzori Mountains, you have the reddish locale. And below that, the Rwanda and Burundi, you have the other locales, which you don't know much about, other than I saw one picture and it was brown. I have no idea what they actually look like. I should look into that. So let's see. Now, one very cool thing about the Johnsonite is you look at those horns. You've got this black, these little black striations. I don't know what you call them, black markings wiggling all through their horns. It is very, very cool. So, and even though they don't have the horns, the females are gorgeous. I just love the patterns on this. And this is a baby captive hatched female Johnsonite. So let's see. Let me see if I can pull up that James photo. We're going to try this. Give me a second. There we go. From the blast from the past. So James, I think that would be a Burundi form. The pictures is actually with a real camera. Back in James's time, they had real cameras. I read about that. Oh boy. So all right. Being old is not a bad thing. There are some advantages. So let's see. Are xanth females born with horns too and grow out of them? Xanth, it's common for xanth females to have a little nose nub. And most of the time they grow and the horn just doesn't grow. I guess that's my way of looking at it. And so the horn just kind of disappears or falls off or something like that. But there are some xanths that they keep a bit of a nose horn. And there is a range, a place in the range of the Xantholophus down by Embu, where it kind of overlaps with jacksonite, and so you get a middle, a blend, kind of a hybrid type. That's very not well studied, and so we don't know a lot about it, but we do know that it can happen. And so, we get what we assume are xanths with. We can get them with nose horns. So it's a very, very interesting. All right. We'll take this down. Whew. All right, everybody. Now it is time. Let me see if I can bring this up. So anyway, many of you have been along with me on this journey where we have been enjoying Squishy and his friends for probably since March, April, May, June, and starting to say, okay, wait a minute, they're not growing a whole lot. And this has been a curious thing in my mind as to what's going on here. And I'm still working on doing it. So let's go ahead and start thinking about things. Here we go. So of the ones that I have, this, if I saw this, I would say, okay, this is like a 2-month-old. But this one's at least 5 months old. And you're thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? This is a panther chameleon. It should be a subadult by this time. So what's going on? So let's go ahead and do some thinking. What affects the growth of a chameleon? There's going to be a number of things. So let's go ahead and put them down. Put it down in the chat and let's talk about each and every one. Because this is what we have to do as chameleon keepers. When we run across things that we don't expect, we got to figure things out. We got to figure out why we are seeing things we don't expect. And okay, these are first of all F2, and I believe what James is referring to is sometimes when there are subsequent generations that we see things about the babies we don't expect. Now, in this case, this is like F1 half. So these come from a wild-caught female, and these eggs were laid as this female was being imported. And so these are officially F1, but if we had an F half, I would go for that. Janet says it's not a panther. Very interesting thought that maybe it's not a panther. We have a number of species that tend to look the same. So is it a possibility that it's not a panther? That's a very good possibility and one to think. We'll put that as a possibility. And this is not really far out. If we're talking about an import, there's a lot of furcifers that may look like pardalis, and we don't see them here because they're not common. But anybody seen a furcifer, female furcifer ungulate? So it's these kind of things that are a possibility. Good thinking. Size of enclosure. That's a great thing to think about. And thing is, I don't think that's what's going on in this case because I have them in bigger cages than I had them in before, and they've grown very quickly. Now you're thinking, okay, well, maybe it's too big. Okay, well, that's possible as well. Food intake, yes. Not only how much they eat, but the quality of the food that they are eating. Cage size and heat. Heat, yes. Chameleons need heat to grow. So do I have enough heat in these cages? Genetics. Yes, genetics would be great. You said you ruled out parasites. Oh, we're not talking about what I've ruled out. But parasites, very good. If the chameleon has parasites, then it can eat all it wants, and that nutrition is not going to be getting to the body. That's Eliza Ann is saying parasites, cage big enough, not heavy eaters. Hatch time smaller because it's born in winter. Ooh, I like that one. That's a great insight. Wait, it's not a panther? Incubation temperature, DNA. Okay, so let's go ahead and explore some of these. And it is worthwhile to explore every single aspect as to what it could be. and I have considered every single one of these. These are things that I've considered, and so we're gonna talk about each one. And I think I will go to the end and say the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think I figured something out. But let's go through each one because this is a great exercise for us all to think about. So, cage size. Is there an issue with the cage? Either too small, too big. Too small is okay. The chameleon feels cramped, and we go into this theory. Does the cage size affect the size of the chameleon? I don't know the answer to that. So is it too small or is it too big that the chameleon can't find food? Well, we're going to have to go and think about other aspects of it. So as far as it being too small, the smallest cage that I have these guys in is 15 by 17 by 30 inches, which is larger than the nursery cages that I used to raise chameleons in. And by 3-4 months, they would outgrow that cage and they'd be on to larger cages. So I don't think it is that the cage is too small. Cage is too big, that they can't find food or water. All right, good thinking. Now, so I have to see what is it, are they eating enough? Well, I got to tell you, there's poop all over the place in there. So I know they're eating. So that answers the other one. Are they eating? Well, poop doesn't lie. Yes, they're eating. Is it nutritious enough? Maybe am I feeding crickets without feeding the crickets? Or am I feeding the crickets and the crickets aren't eating? So I don't know the answer to that. I know, well, okay, I do know. I am feeding the crickets and they are eating, but it's still a question is there something wrong with the nutrition? Let's see, heat. I have some of these cages without the heat lamp, and it's just with the lights on top. I have some of the cages with a heat lamp, and I have some of these babies outside in the California sun, where I'm actually worried about it being too hot. So I got to move things around to make sure they don't get too much. And so I have a wide range of heat, and they're all showing the same growth. So I don't think it is heat. Genetics, that I can't tell because I don't even know who the mother is. And in fact, well, we got the mother, but we don't know anything about the mother. And the whole reason why I'm doing this is to figure out what the genetics of the mother is. As far as the species, I looked into that and I was looking really carefully. I truly believe these are Furcifer pardalis, as we expect. They are showing the signs of being a pardalis. They're just smaller. And even with something like Angeli, which is similar, the males start to grow these rostral processes. I've got no indication that this is a species other than pardalis. Whew. Is this episode of Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys? Yes, and that's what we have to do. So, but I want to bring this up. Let me see if I can bring this up. Come on. Okay, there we go. Give me a second. All right, everybody. I got a poop that was big enough. Number one, it was big enough, but number two, I actually got it before it hit the ground. I have these guys in these naturalistic cages, and so there's a lot of stuff going on. It's very difficult to find a poop that isn't soiled. So this is the poop, and now we are sitting at 800 times. And you can see, if you look carefully in there, you can start to see, I'm trying to get the focus here, but you can see that there is some flagellated protozoa in there. So it is possible that they are being stunted or they're being held back because they have flagellated protozoa. They could have parasites. It looks like they have parasites. So Geraldine, I tried to rule it out, but obviously, getting a little bit more information, my little babies may have flagellated protozoa. And so I think you can see it now. If you just kind of look, you can see them crawling around, wiggling around. So you're thinking, wait a minute, they're babies. Why do they have flagellated protozoa? And that's a good question. And I don't know that all of them do. This is just one example of one of them. And it happens to be of the biggest one. So go figure. So where would a baby chameleon get parasites? And there is no real answer to that question. Okay, now I've gone down to the higher. I think this is what is this? 40 times. That's 400 times. So that's about somewhere around 1,000 times. I'm trying to get it more clear. But there is some thought that parasites could come with the eggs. And so when the mother lays the eggs, that some parasites are around the eggs. And whether they're in the eggs or around the eggs, don't know. There's just a lot of ideas out there. And so it's possible that these parasites were in the soil around the eggs, or were introduced somewhere after they were hatched. And so the question is, I don't know that we'll ever know where they picked these up, but it's a very strong clue, because I know they have UVB, I know they have heat, I know they have food, I know they have water. I mean, I can just look at their poops. They're pooping all the time, and the poop is moist. So this would be an answer that I would put up as one of the top possibilities as to what's going on. Now, of course, I'm going to be testing all of them, and I've got to figure out a treatment plan. This is going to be difficult, because it's very difficult to treat a baby, and you've got to be really careful when you're treating for flagellated protozoa, because you've got to treat with metronidazole. Metronidazole gets into every orifice of the body, and so it's a very dangerous thing. It's difficult to get metronidazole diluted down to where something that only weighs less than 10 grams, I mean, these, probably maybe 3-4 grams, very difficult to dilute something down safely to that size. This is the problem that every Rickettsia owner has ever had to deal with. So how do I deal with this? It'll be very interesting. Let's see. I'll just go through the chats here. Are the flagellates ones that you don't have in the rest of your chameleons? I don't have a whole lot of. I don't have flagellates out here. I mean, every now and then someone will come up, and if you're asking if I'm the one who transferred it, I don't know. I mean, it's, I try to. The thing is with parasites, it's so easy for something to transfer over when you're not thinking about it, when you're not looking, and even if we're trying really hard. So I'm not going to be able to go back into time and figure out exactly how this happened, whether it happened with me or whether it happened with at the laying site or in the transfer when they were transferred to me. I don't know. I won't be able to figure that out. I mean, I don't reckon these flagellates aren't the same that I've seen in my other chameleons, but I keep seeing different ones in every chameleon. So yeah, it's hard to tell. Do chameleon people wash or disinfect eggs before? No, they do not. We don't do that. Yeah, this is hello, Tutorial Tom. This is not common, and it's or at least it's not commonly studied or known about. The idea of parasites going with the egg is a strange one, and I don't know that it really makes sense with the flagellated protozoa. It would with coccidia because of the long incubation time. The coccidia oocyst would be alive for that long. I don't know that the flagellated protozoa would survive that long. So, but something to consider. So, can meds be given in powder form and fed to feeder bugs and then fed to chameleons? Don't know. It's definitely something worth trying. It's something that we would have to be really careful of. Something like that with Panicure, fenbendazole would be probably fine because fenbendazole doesn't really get into the bloodstream. The problem with metronidazole is if we could figure out how to get it into the cricket or feeder insect, controlling the dose. And the problem is the dose is so important because it can mess with the chameleon's brain. Yeah. Mother check for the same. I do not have the mother. I don't know the status of the mother, but that at this point I would be very interested. But it's been what, year and a half since this, so anything could be happening to the mother, and she could have gotten anything else. What would be interesting is to take a fecal of the mother at the time that she laid the egg. But this is what's valuable about these experiences is we can talk about it, we can start thinking about it. And now I'm really curious, when I do have a mother who lays eggs, I'm going to do a fecal on her and I'm going to see what does she have, and then I'm going to take a look at the babies and see what, this is the kind of thing that we as a community grow through, is when we start asking ourselves these questions. So this is yeah. I just asked if they do appear in the next poop of other chameleons, of yours or not, because not all flagellates affect the animals the same. Okay. All right. So what, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do. And it really comes down to what's my decision on this. If I go to my vet, he will say, okay, we can try it, but it's going to be very hard to control this. So I believe I can feed in a way that we're not going to make the problem worse. The problem with flagellated protozoas, they stay with the chameleon. They just keep working in the chameleon. It's not like coccidia, where if you're really careful with how they're feeding, they'll actually self clear themselves of coccidia. So yeah, people are talking about injecting worms with medicines. Okay. Yeah, we've in the chameleon world, we've traditionally had real challenges in dealing with small chameleons. Very few people have checked baby chameleons for parasites, but the Brookesia, I got Brookesia minima. How in the world are you going to, that's like about this big. How in the world are you going to give medicine to that? So, something we've tried to come up with different ways of dealing with the situation. James and Robin, what kind of medicines are you injecting into the food? Injecting? Are you talking about antibiotics? I'd be very interested in knowing what you guys are injecting into your food and are seeing good results. That is um, so I did a thorough check. There, I don't see any nematodes and I don't see any coccidia. So all I have is these wiggling things. So I'm assuming, so we've got flagellated protozoa. Now, we have to be careful in situations like this. We have to be careful not to stop looking because it's so easy to want an answer that we get information like this. We say, okay, it's flagellated protozoa, it's parasites. Now we have to figure out how to get rid of the parasites. Number one, we don't know that these parasites are these flagellated protozoa are parasitic. We're assuming they are, and that's probably a good assumption, but there is internal flora where it's not parasitic, it's commensal. So this is like big, big glowing words. Okay, I think we've got our problem, but this is where we keep looking. And say I go ahead and I check the fecals of all the others, and they don't have this the flagellated protozoa. Okay, I'm back to square one. So this is when we are doing this investigation, we have to make sure that we don't stop looking just because we found a possibility. And you see this so often on social media. I'll pick on social media because people have a problem and they come up with a reasonable solution and then they stick with it and they go with it and they start spreading it around. And I've got a group that has decided that pothos is dangerous, can kill your chameleon. Why? Because they had some chameleon that died, and on necropsy, they found inside his stomach was some pothos leaves. Okay. They came up with the idea that the pothos leaves, because of the oxalates, they absorbed all the calcium, and the chameleon died because of that. And the thing is, that just doesn't make sense because of the decades that we have been having veiled chameleons chow down on pothos, and they didn't die. So we have to be careful not to come up with what sounds like a reasonable solution and then stop looking. We have to challenge that reasonable assumption with the same vigor that we challenge everything else. And so I am sharing with you that this is a step in me figuring out what is going on. And this is a huge clue, but it's not a smoking gun until I check all the others and I find that they have the same parasites. And maybe I'll try to medicate. And if I can medicate and get rid of the parasite and then they start growing, okay, then I have enough evidence that I am confident that this is the problem. And the thing is, if I go with this and I stop looking for any other problems, I could be wasting my time and I could miss other clues because I am so convinced, I'm so happy that I have a solution that I stop looking and I miss what's really the problem. So that's the situation. Okay, it's talking about it's an anti-inflammatory. Okay, both parasitic and antibiotic medication. Okay, I've injected meds onto feeders, but not into. Okay. Stop looking for horse if the answer is zebras. Or no, I think it's stop looking for zebras when the answer is horse. Okay. Yes. Okay. That sounds good. Hey, Bill, can I clean my fogger with distilled vinegar? Yep, you can. Clean it and then make sure you rinse it out really, really, really well. And there you go. Yeah. YW. What is YW? Sounds good to me. All right. Let's see. Oxalates are not toxic to animals or humans. Plants containing them are wrongfully added to toxic plant lists. They are just tropical irritants. Well, if they irritate the throat, so at least in dogs and cats. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for helping me understand the vernacular. Remember, I come from James's time. I don't know all this stuff. Oh, it doesn't help that Steve knows it because he's from James's time too. Great. So I just don't know stuff. Oh, hormones are like a pill pocket for chameleons. Yeah. Cheese for a dog. All right. Well, it's time for me to start getting creative. The things I've noticed about these babies is they're not aggressive eaters. I very rarely see them eat. I see them poop all over the place, but I rarely see them eat. So that was another clue that I was thinking about, and it makes sense. Parasites sometimes make your stomach feel, but I would expect that they would not poop as much. So it's not a clean conclusion. So thought about running some through it to clean the tubing, then run it straight. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. And it's mainly scratching a lot of the residue off of the transducer, not scratching, scrubbing gently. That's not fair. Steve Hefner has grandkids. He's got his thumb on the pulse of everyone. Bill, are there any other signs of anything else in the babies? No, there's not. They are all very, very active, very alert. If I stick my hand in, man, they are all over the place. So they are acting as if they are of the prime health as far as behavior. There never see any of them just sitting there with their eyes closed or being lethargic at all. So I don't have any behavior cues clues that say there's something internally wrong. When I do find them eating, they are eating aggressively, like they'll shoot something across the cage, which I think you'll never make that, and they make it just fine. So, and they're picky. They'll think, okay, yeah, I don't feel like crickets. I like my bean beetles. So they're acting like spoiled little brats. And I would be concerned about them not eating as much because I don't see it, but that's just because they see me. And I have to look at their poop. And I mean, I've got to clean their poop off because they poop so much. I know they're getting enough water because when I get this freshly deposited poop, that it's moist. So they are getting enough moisture. And I think that's all I can do. They, as far as heat, they're getting enough heat. Behavior-wise, they don't huddle up. They don't sit there in front of the lights, just soaking it all in. They get a little bit of heat, and then they escape to the other parts of the cage. So they're not desperate for heat. And I think that's all I can do as far as an analysis of anything else. The only thing that I can see that worries me is a slow growth. Now, they look like they're growing and maturing. I can see their features sharpening up. So it's like they're getting older and they're maturing. They're just not growing, getting bigger. So, that may be a parasitic thing. Don't know. Oh, Nate says tie-dye Illuminati shirt came in today. I'm wearing it. Ha, I love this shirt. This is one of my favorite shirts. Oh yeah, by the way, everybody, if you want to, maybe I should say, okay, remember, new shirts. You can, I should be selling shirts. This is my type of, this is my fundraiser to help fund for the 10th anniversary. And if you, I'm going to put the link in the comments. So purchasing one of these shirts will go towards the getting all the supplies for the cookie decorating for our 10th anniversary. Excuse me. So I'll put that up there. So, you know, you guys starting cash out with all the things we've gone through has been scary and somewhat upsetting, but I've learned a whole new level of observation. I thought it was good before. Yeah. It's amazing when you start thinking about this and you start growing in the chameleon arts, and you start getting to a level that you didn't realize existed, and you didn't know that this is where you were going. So we just keep uncovering new aspects of ourselves as keepers. John was a spoiled little brat. He went through a hopper phase, and that's all he would eat. Now it's only dubia roaches. Okay. Whew. All right. Well, before we go, we got to do the last. This is the Tiny Dragons. If anybody hasn't gotten this book, but they are interested in the book, I'll put you can either click that QR code, or else I've put the link in the chat where you can purchase the book. See, this is my fundraiser type stuff. This is how I support my my chameleon outreach. So chameleon arts. I might have gone to more college. They had that class. Yeah, I should start teaching. I could go to college. I'm going to be teaching the chameleon arts. And Jen says loves her book. I am so glad. I am so glad. Yeah, I had so much fun putting that book together. A lot of fun. All right, everybody was on earlier, said out of stock. Were you at the, you should, okay, if you go onto the website, I do not have any on the website, but click the link to the publisher. So I'm not selling any more on the website. There's a link that I've put there, and you go to the publisher and they will ship it out. And especially Flick, I know you're in Northern Ireland. The publisher is the one you want to go with. So find the, you can go to that same website that you saw that said out of stock, hit the link for the publisher, and it actually publishes in the UK. So that's a much better place for you because they can ship to Europe for less than half than I can ship it out for. So, how many crickets a full-grown parsons will eat? Lots. Lots. Oh. When Tiki was 5 months old, he was tons of color. Yes. Well, Tony, you also have a probably an ambilobe that is of captive genetics, which colors come out real soon for those. All right, everybody, we are coming to the end. I will be at the show tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any sort of live stuff from the show. That I tried a live from a show last time, and it didn't work out so well. It was kind of a mess. So I probably won't. But I'm going to be back on Tuesday actually tomorrow. Hopefully I should be back from the show in time for the Chameleon chore night. And Yvette has some feeder trays she needs done, so I have stuff to do. I'm still planning on being back by 5 o'clock, and so we can do Chameleon chore night tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific. Any bifidus update? The exporter delayed the paperwork until I think yesterday. So there was a delay because the exporter, there was some holiday or something going on in Madagascar, and so we should be able to get a date this week as to when they're coming in. So at the very least, it was a human thing, not a weather thing or a legal thing. It was just, we don't feel like doing anything before the holiday thing. I am not a vendor at the show. I am just going to be walking my way through the show. I'll be wearing my 10th anniversary t-shirt, so you can see me that way if you're there. Yeah, Tony, it's amazing and you will find that your chameleon has brighter resting colors than the wild-caught chameleons because of the 14 generations of breeding that's gone into those genetics. So you've got a very nice result of our community dedication over the last 20 years. Let's see. All right. All right. Well, I don't want to shut down. There's a discussion about Parsons chameleons. Our 1,000-gram Parsons won't even eat 14 dubia. That's crazy. Yeah, 1,000. Woo, 1,000 grams. That's a lot. Robin, is that a green giant? That's 1,000. So it'd be very interesting if that is 1,000 green giant, but I will find that out later. We're going to have to say goodbye here, and I will see you all tomorrow for if you want to be at the chores, and then I'm going to be here Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific for the question and answer session. So, all right, everybody, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me here and being part of finding clues and figuring out what's going on with chameleons. And I will keep you updated as to what I find out as I look into this and explore the possibility these little guys have parasites, which of course is going to be a complete mess because I've got them in a nice bioactive cage. So this is what happens. So you can observe my misery. So have a great weekend. I'll see you all later.